there's an old black train a-comin', scraping along the iron. You don't need no ticket, boys, it'll take you when it's time.
Welcome to the Train of the Dead, everybody, where you and up to 3 fellow ragamuffins can save angry spirits by giving them a good old dose of what we call hobo therapy. The first order of business when you sit down to play a game of Vagrantsong is to select the vagrant into whose grimy, worn-out shoes you are going to be stepping for the scenario. Depending on how you're feeling, you might choose to be the Empress, the Runaway, the Songsmith, the Wayfarer, the Cursebreaker, or the Revivalist, alternatively known as the Duke of Hastings from Bridgerton Season 1, Sweaty Lady, the Mailman, a budget-friendly Ed Sheeran, girl who has read Warrior Cats too many times, and the Captain from Treasure Planet. Seriously though, is it just me? Once you have made your choice, you will be ready to meet your unsuspecting client, the Ghost. Each ghost comes with a bit of evocative text describing the circumstances under which you meet them and a brilliantly illustrated standee. They'll also arrive with a complex map of unique actions they'll take on their turns and a slew of tasks that the ghost left unfinished in life. Completing these rituals will be necessary for you to lay the troubled phantom to rest, and each is patterned to its individual plight. On your turn, you will take the 3 coins that were given to you at the beginning of the game, and you'll allocate them among the various skills and abilities your character has. Placing 1 coin on a skill will allow you to activate it, while stacking 2 or even all 3 of your coins on the same ability will enhance its effectiveness. After you've finished allocating your coins, you will then carry out each action that you activated, attempting to restore as much humanity as possible to your target by completing rituals or busting out crazy hobo moves, or when all else fails, giving that ghost a good whipping. Cause as anyone with a degree in hobo therapy can tell ya, that is the most surefire way of making someone realize just how human they are. And then it's time for the ghost to take their turn, and that's when you've got to pull something out of the bindle. But don't worry, this isn't the kind of bindle that you have to buy in the back room of a dive bar for $200. This one doesn't have overpriced powdered sugar in it. This one has got cardboard, a fraction of the price, twice as addictive. To activate the ghost, you'll tug a token out of the bindle, you'll reference the chart that comes with the ghost, and you'll carry out whatever the text says that corresponds to the token that you drew. Once you've done that, it'll be the next player's turn, and you'll keep going, alternating ghost turns with player turns until either all of the players have become westbound, that is, dead, or that their haint has been served up some genuine humanity. At its core, Vagrantsong is a dungeon crawler, and it comes with all of the familiar trappings of the genre. Encounters are linked together with earnestly applied strips of literary duct tape. Each vagrant, as you might suspect, loosely corresponds to a traditional role in a dungeon crawler, like the healer, or the tank, or the damage dealer. And you'll be able to develop these characters' skills and upgrade their abilities as you continue through the campaign. It also features less desirable hallmarks of the genre, like scenario-specific mechanics that leave you with tons of rules questions that the rulebook and Board Game Geek threads will inadequately answer. And every decision that you make will have a big red pending approval stamped on it, as it will ultimately be subject to the whims of this capricious handful of dice. A crew of dice, I might add, that will abuse every scrap of power this game gives them, and it gives them a lot of scraps of power more readily than robber barons in Gilded Age America. And in time, these very dice will become haunted with the agonized screams of those unfortunate enough to know their cruelty. They will be the dwelling place of phantoms, the lingering shadows of what might have been. So deep is my loathing for them, I can scarce abide that touch. Vagrantsong does not go without making a few tweaks and adjustments to the established dungeon crawler formula. Like a professional cosmetologist dabbing some rouge and a bit of eyeshadow onto an Egyptian mummy ahead of its public exhibition, Vagrantsong tries to give the genre a bit of a glow up, to make it look young, vibrant, and ready to mingle at the local mixer. Instead of terrain tiles, we've got a board! And as a man who's spent many an hour of his life sifting through Gloomhaven tiles, trying to distinguish between IA and JA and LA, this is amazing! Setting up a scenario is as simple as unfolding the board and putting out a few tokens. Done! Gone are the throngs of minions heroes customarily have to cut through to access the final boss as well. Jumping straight to the boss fight means players are at their full mental capacity and brimming with energy to navigate the boss's inevitably complex mechanics, which isn't something most games of this ilk allow for. The game is also specifically designed to allow players to completely change the composition of their teams between scenarios. At the end of every scenario, all of the skills people have, their possessions, go into a common pool. Before starting the next scenario, everyone will customize their loadout by selecting skills from this shared pool. This means that anyone can join the campaign at any time without feeling underpowered or low level compared to other players. Speaking of upgraded skills, players are only allowed to take 4 with them, along with 1, maybe 2 items. This elegantly solves the clutter problem endemic in so many dungeon crawlers, where you get 6 quests into the campaign and you're already awash with 15 different player cards, all with a paragraph of tiny text. Additionally, and this is just really cool, each character has a westbound version on the backside of their character sheet. When a player is killed, they'll flip their character sheet over to reveal that westbound version. And it comes with its own little ability, and they can still participate in the fight even though they're technically dead. And if players heal them back up to full health while they're westbound, they flip back over, coming back to life. And that is so cool! And of course, while I'm talking about things that I like, I have to mention its art and concept. Those are the 2 things that initially drew me to the game, and I am delighted to say that it delivered. This game reaches the Halloween-loving Labrador Retriever deep inside of me and gives it a belly rub. It isn't based on any specific era of American history, but the scrappy, shabbily attired protagonist, combined with the preponderance of sepia tones and the earthy style in which its narrative beats are conveyed, evoke the Dust Bowl disaster that displaced millions of Americans in the 1930s. Now, it's worth noting that by the mid-30s, rubber hose animation, the style of cartoon that Popeye, other early cartoon characters, and the Vagrantsong characters are drawn in, had fallen out of fashion. The anachronism of rubber hose characters in the Dust Bowl era creates a clash between jocularity and devastating crisis that is simultaneously whimsical and eerie. The rituals, abilities, art, and behaviors composed for each ghost, featuring as they do cryptic allusions to the tragedies each one sustained in life, endow them with the curious magnetism possessed by iconic spooks in traditional folklore. It's just so good, you know? It makes me feel like singing a song, the kind of lonesome tune a hobo might have sung as he rode the rails into the unknown.
I never dreamed that there'd come a day when I'd find myself far from your arms. Now that I am, I can hardly stand not to be near your sweet southern charms. Send me a peach from old Georgia, down where the Savannah flows. If I could have one bite of Georgia, I would feel right here at home. I miss the shady old lanes there, walking with you by my side. Send me just one peach from Georgia, just so I know you'll be mine. I hope that you won't forget me before my road leads back to you. Though the winter may bring the whole world to its knees, the spring shall return with its fruit. The wind here is ready for winter. It seems to turn everything blue. So just send me one little peach, just a sweet sunny piece of you.
Yeah, it's good. The element of this game that consistently impressed me was the sheer variety of encounters contained in this box. Every ghost feels utterly distinct. It has its own intact and rather nuanced sense of identity. That is this game's crowning achievement, but also a source of problems, okay? I love the art and I love this theme, but I got some problems with Vagrantsong. The rules. Tell me, how can a rulebook possibly be this long and have this many words and still leave me with questions? It feels like it's breaking an obscure Newtonian law, and that's just the rules for the main game. Every scenario comes with a tub full of new rules. Those rules are typically vague and unintuitive, and they mess with the game's central system. This leads to a ton of fringe situations for which there are zero clarifications. Every scenario in this book should come with its own FAQ, but that also shouldn't happen because that would necessitate bulking this book up to the size of a Tolstoy novel, and no one would look at it, let alone read it. So I mentioned event texts. Well, this is what an event token looks like. You'll put them on the board in various places, and they will trigger throughout the scenario. Some events, I kid you not, add rules to the scenario that are supposed to last for the rest of the encounter. A lot of these rules are situationally applied. When the haint moves to this space and the vagrants are within 2 spaces of it, this happens. That kind of stuff. There are no visual reminders provided on the pages where you're usually looking to help you remember that these modifiers are in place. So if you trigger an event that adds one of these modifiers to the scenario, that means you're stuck flipping this page back and forth to make sure that you don't forget the modifier that it added 6 turns before. And flipping this page gets so annoying. Or you may choose to just try and remember the modifiers. And you'll probably forget half of them. You'll get to the end of the scenario, turn the page to move on to the camp phase, which happens in between scenarios, and realize, oh, the haint was supposed to be dealing 6 damage to us instead of 3 the whole time. Huh. These dice. All that being said, my final conclusion on Vagrantsong, the board game by Wyrd Games, is that its reputation is doomed to be as complex as that cultivated by the invention that adorns its cover, the locomotive. Parts of it feel antiquated and sloppily executed. In many ways, it is exactly what the rubber hose animation style would be in the Great Depression, an anachronism. But it is unparalleled in its ability to bring the eerie ambiance of Halloween. And hey, if you feel like you can handle some tricky rules and you're okay with coming up with some interpretations on the fly, I'm gonna say check it out. But if you are looking for a squeaky clean, modern take on Halloween that you can bust out as an automatic crowd pleaser, this ain't it, folks.
Thanks so much for checking out this video from Jumble and Gaff. We are a brand new YouTube channel devoted to board games, tabletop gaming, miniatures painting, all that kind of stuff. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch our video. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you'd like to see more of that, feel free to check out our channel and maybe even toss us a subscribe. We'd love to see you around.